A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now you can also share a cart with Instacart's family carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or whether you should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart, and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes, plus enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer, you ask me. I'll tell you anything.
You better have some of those top and bottom of the cobs produced.
I have good ones. Can we talk about the fact that you posted on your social media about this podcast? People said, I didn't know she had a podcast. So the post worked. So good work.
We're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on it. And the next thing is to put out audio clips. Like, I know that people want content to satisfy your eyes, ears, nose, and throat, like at all times. And I'm sure we will get to that at some point.
They don't
I just
want
basically
audio
need
clips.
someone to do it.
They want video clips.
Video. So here's my face.
Well,
I
they
just got my
can't
hair
see
done.
it.
Well, they will when I make a beautiful video of my like okay looking hair. So get ready. Get ready for that. I mean, look, we record these podcasts a few days before and then we pretend that it's like day of, but it's obviously an incredibly sad day in America. And I would be remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge, not that this is like a news show, but I think sadly, I've said this before, the good news is every time, so every few days, a mass shooting happens, I am just as sad and horrified. I have not become numb to it because it is not a normal thing, no matter how much it happens. And I'm not connected to it. I mean, I have a child, but I'm not connected to it in a tangible way. I don't live there. It wasn't my kid. I don't know anyone involved. But it really lays you out for the whole day mentally. So I can only imagine what other people are going through. And I was texting with a friend who lives in Hong Kong, and I was just like, I'm so embarrassed that all the great things that America once was, I appreciate a bloody history and oppression, but all of the things, the American dream is still alive and well. We had a nanny come over today who's Guatemalan, and she told me her daughter is graduating from Stanford with like a full ride. And she was like, my husband and I worked so hard. And I was like, the American dream is alive and well. The American spirit is alive and well, but our country is being, in real time, fully hijacked. And so I am not a political analyst. I don't want to lose followers. I'm not here to preach, but I am here to say that I am, like, for the first time in my life, I actually Googled today, like, can I move to Copenhagen? The answer is no. And that's what I want to say to these other countries, like, hey, we were super cool and welcoming everyone. Can you return the favor?
Please, let us come over there.
You have to like work in IT or something. No one's like, a comedian, come on over.
I know. Well, especially because you don't have to do your job there. So they're like, you could stay where you are.
I'll still contribute to your economy. You know, I'll buy the house, I'll do the thing. But it is incredibly scary. And I was talking to Noah about it, and he was like, I gave up hope when they shot up a country music festival and people still didn't care. Like, this isn't like you're only shooting up theater schools, you know? So,
right.
And the truth is, it's not so much a joke as much as something I would say on stage and I've said before, like, why don't we just take guns away from men because women don't do this? And then today it was a woman and fucking, God damn it, it was a transgender woman, which they will run with to be like, see what we told you? Ignoring all the examples of other types of predators and people that have done this. And so I'm so angry at that damage.
Literally, when we're recording, this has just happened, so more information will come out by the time this airs. So, we can't speak too much to it.
What they never tell you, and I know this is a comedy podcast, but I'm just so floored by this. What they never tell you, because all of these losers write manifestos, which I'm sure are babbling and incoherent. I don't understand. I could understand if you were mad at the world shooting a bunch of lawmakers or a bunch of adults, but why is it kids? Like, what is the validation in that? Who is telling these people? Why is that, if you want to blame it on like anything, why is that the thing versus shoot, and people do adults, but I don't understand what the kid thing has to do with it and why that's the choice.
Right. I guess
they never talk about it. They never give any context or anything, and then the story just goes away. But
well, I guess we'll see. They have a manifesto, so I guess we'll see.
That's what I'm saying.
What that actually says.
I just think about, we went out to a diner yesterday out in the mountains. We took Sierra. We had a beautiful day, just like a lot of those parents did with their kid on Sunday. And I just, I actually just Googled the school she's going to go to when she's older. Like, do they have metal detectors? I just hate this world that we've created. We're just wrecking like 2 full generations of kids. And this country is going to go down the crapper because we're going to have all of these people who are so damaged from all of this, whether it's your school not being safe or your drinking water poisoned or being told that however you are is the wrong way to be, pollution in general. And when America sneezes, it causes the rest of the world catches a cold. So it starts here and it goes everywhere. And it's just really fucking scary. And so I just want to validate anybody else that's angry or sad or scared. Yeah. And once you have kids also, it's just, you can't help but think about your own kid selfishly. So, but then you go outside, you pick your head up and you're like, but this isn't happening today to me. And we all move on. I vote for, I don't want to take people's guns. I want gun safety. You want to own a rifle to shoot a deer? Fucking own it. But it should be really hard to get a gun. And there should be do it North Korea style. Like 3 generations of your family go to jail if your minor ends up killing people with a gun they took from you. Anyway.
Yeah, I saw a post online that was like a picture of vibrators at Walmart. And they're like, why are they selling vibrators at Walmart? This is totally inappropriate. Someone else was like, well, they sell guns at Walmart.
Bunch of
so like, pull it back.
Puritanical, Bible thumping, incel homophobes. Anyways, SOS from America. America has been taken hostage by like a very elite % of people who benefit from like blood money from the NRA. Please send help. They're poisoning our food. And
you're trying to get shelter in another country. What fan will offer Iliza refuge?
No, I'm going to stay here and fight for now. It's very, very scary.
Okay.
In other news, you guys have smaller problems and we are here to answer them. Hopefully you have some. I had to say something. By the time I listen to this, there will have been another shooting, but the whole conversation is so fucked up. And just so you know, it's like this dehumanization. Like I was talking to my assistant about this and she was just like, many people who are taught to like fear trans people will never meet one. And the joke is there's all this like homophobic rhetoric out there, like all this legislation they're passing against being gay and saying gay and drag queens. Gays are among you. Gays are older than Jesus Christ. Gays have been here as long as heterosexuals have been here. So just because you don't think you know one, you do. Mm-hmm. So open your fucking eyes and get with it. That's not the problem. No one's trying to fuck you because you're probably ugly. I'm just saying, they're making it like transgender people and drag queens and gays are they're making that the issue while they're secretly just like poisoning your water, killing your women and your kids.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. Now we
Great.
settled it.
Great. And to a way lesser extent, did you see that image of the Pope in the jacket that people thought was real?
Oh my
and
God.
It wasn't real.
Oh, I thought the post was so funny. It was something like Gen Z jealous of this drip or something. I thought that was a real, because I think it's like Prada makes his loafers.
Yeah. So that's the problem, is it's continuing this conversation of suddenly AI art is like among us, and we have no way to we have no education. We can barely tell if what we're getting in our email is a spam, and it'll be like, hello, I'm a scammer.
Can I tell you
and people
something?
are like, this could be real.
If you, and someone like Alex Jones would worm out of this, but if you knowingly pass along altered information or personal facts, fake news, it should be a federal crime because you are upset. It's basically like yelling fire in a movie theater. Or there's a gun at a school, except this time it's real. I think somebody was talking about this. Somebody in tech, I told them this idea, and they're like, there's a name for that. I think everything online should be attached to your one username, one account. So if you want to go on Instagram and say a bunch of awful stuff, we all know what that's attached to. There should be no anonymity. That way, I believe
the Huffington Post does that. You can only comment with a real Facebook that you've registered to them.
Cool. Because I'm all over the Huffington Post. I just think it should be attached to your social security number, your ID. We know who you are. All these people want to go off and say horrible things and threatening things. Let's see how brave you are when everyone knows who you are. Because at least as a comic, I stand by everything I say. It's all trackable. But folks, you've got questions and we're here. Our podcast is a steady 747. We're not doing anything radical. We're just here to give you that red hot life advice. Now that I've told you exactly where I stand politically, but it's still sort of vague. I still wouldn't mind a tax break once in a while. Fall has fallen. Winter is on its way. The days are shorter. But just because, they feel shorter. And just because the days feel shorter doesn't mean your to-do list gets any shorter. You still have to power through your busy days. And a great way to do that is with nutritious food from Factor's no prep, no mess meals. At the end of a short day in the fall or the winter, the last thing you want to do is have to cook. Factor has got you covered from breakfast, snacks, dinner, anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled, like their chicken Florentine with spinach and garlic chili cauliflower. You bet. That's what I want to make myself at the end of a day where I am exhausted and my husband isn't home. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add on, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals, even if your goal was just making yourself dinner. Head to factormeals.com/Iliza50 and use code Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code Iliza50 at factormeals.com/Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. The holidays are here. And for a lot of us, the holidays mean decorating, hosting, celebrating. For me, it means a lot of traveling. And nothing feels better year-round, but especially during the cozy holidays, than a restful night's sleep in soft, luxurious sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made with the finest 100% organic cotton, and they get softer with every single wash. You already know that I got Boll & Branch this summer when I needed breathable sheets to sleep in, but this holiday season, I'm actually gifting some of my friends and family Boll & Branch's Ultimate Softness Bundle. I get to choose a signature hem sheet set in any color, a signature hem pillow set, and a waffle bed blanket. And they're all getting juniper because I think it's a classy color. This way, you know you have something nice to sleep on when you visit. It's the perfect gift for you and them. Gift you and your loved ones a better night's sleep with Boll & Branch. And right now is their best offer of the entire year. For 25% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets, head to bollandbranch.com/Iliza. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Iliza for 25% off. Limited time only, exclusions apply. See site for details. So finally, fall is here. I have been looking forward to it. I have had a hard year in a good way. I had a baby. I have been on a nonstop tour, nonstop traveling, and it's been hot. So I'm looking forward to, of course,
pumpkin spice, everything, cooler weather, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. I've talked about Quince before. Quince has beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Dressing expensive doesn't have to be expensive. Their clothing is beautiful, it's durable, it stands the test of time, and it's what I like to call a capsule wardrobe. I got an Italian wool cocoon coat. That's one of those, it's got like a European collar and it covers my butt so I can walk around New York City and not be chilly. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/Iliza for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Iliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Iliza.
Okay, the first thing isn't even a question, but I need to share this. It says, thank you. When the pandemic hit, there was an episode where Iliza said something along the lines of, don't sit around while the world stops, so that when the world begins, you'll come out on top. We saved every penny and every COVID check and ended up being able to buy our first house at 2.7%, I believe, APR interest rate in 2021 and graduated with my BS in 2022 here in 2023. And I totally credit Iliza's motivational speech that day. So thank you, Tiffany.
I love that. Yeah,
I just thought that was phenomenal.
I think that's so cool. And also, I'm like, don't sit around waiting. That way, when the world opens, you come out on top. Or with a book that like some of your fans bought. That's awesome. Yeah. Never, ever make the mistake of thinking because everybody says they're like collectively stepping away or taking a breath that they're actually doing it. Don't sleep on this hustle.
No.
Don't sleep on this Pope drip. Perp drip.
Hi, Iliza and Emily. I'm 30, female, and from Toronto. Context. My boyfriend is still friends with his ex-girlfriend's female friends. Even though he broke up with his ex, her friends have become even closer friends with him. He's the only guy in their friend group. The ex doesn't hang out with them anymore. The girls all come from wealthy families, went to private school together, and are very cliquey. They're in their late 20s. My boyfriend does not come from any of these backgrounds. The issue. I've been dating him for 2 years. Things are going great, except for this group of girls. These girls don't acknowledge me when I'm there. What? They only talk to each other or my boyfriend. I try to chime in on conversations, but they give me one-word answers and ignore me. The last time we all saw each other, one of the girls was calling my boyfriend daddy and gave him a tight hug that lasted well over a minute as we all watched. My boyfriend says he doesn't know why the girls are acting strange and it's just one-off behavior. These girls were once his only friends and he really cherishes them, so he's finding it hard to call them out on what they do and says they aren't aware of what they're doing to me.
Yeah, they are.
My question.
Yeah, they are.
My question. My boyfriend knows how isolated and hurt I feel every time I hang out with these girls and they reject me. He says he doesn't want to drop the girls as friends and we only have to see them a handful of times every year, so it's not a big deal.
Well, then why does it matter? If you're only seeing them a handful of times, like, who cares? Just drop them altogether. It's not like you have to see them. All right, I'm just saying. What's the difference to him?
Is it fair?
All right, fine.
Is it fair to tell my boyfriend I don't want to ever hang out with them again because of how mean they can be towards me? He says he will distance himself from the girls if they continue to disrespect me, but it's been 2 years and nothing has changed. What should I do? Sandy.
Why were they his only friends?
Okay, so this is so bizarre. Like, this is such a weird question. How often does this happen? So he was with this woman, okay, and I guess had no friends, and then he and the woman broke up. All of her friends ditched her for him.
Yeah.
Like, where are his original friends? Who was his friend before
That's
he
what
dated
I'm
this
saying.
girl? Like, what happened when this break? Was it precipitated by the breakup?
We don't
like. They're calling him daddy. And he's just like, oh, I don't know.
What is that just like a thing that you say to like a hot person? They don't have to be older than you. Like, you would not call an ugly person daddy. You would not call your own dad daddy. That's weird.
Ugh.
I don't know why. Why did he not have any male friends? And also the private school thing, it's a little weird because it's like, unless he's super hot, which he probably is, this feels like weirdly sexually charged. I wonder.
He has a harem.
Did he hook up with one of these girls?
Maybe he's hooking up with all of them.
Something's going on. And I know that you're 30. This is a very, like, I always thought 30 was old. And now I look back, I'm like, the babies. This is a very delicate transition from your 20s to your 30s. This is where you start to sort of shed a lot of the friends that you had in your 20s. And only a man that young would care about this. A guy who loves you would be like, I'm done. That's so disrespectful. And the fact that he doesn't feel he can stand up to them as if he owes them anything, something's going on. They clearly don't respect you. I don't understand why they're friends with him. And I guess I also don't understand why you bring up the private school thing. Is this like, is he like super blue collar and they think it's a novelty? Or are you just saying that they're cliquey as private school kids can be? Is there a version where the next time you all hang out, like you bring some friends? Can you isolate one of them and just start hitting her as hard as you can? And like prison rules, just be like, I'm not letting go until she's out. I think this comes down really to your boyfriend's respect for you. Like, so what's more important? Him getting to see this like random pack of jackals 5 times a year where they're shitty to you, or you, the girl that he like quote unquote loves?
Right. What is he getting out of this? He's sitting there talking to them about whatever.
He likes the
They're
attention.
not acknowledging you.
He likes the
100%.
Well,
a group of girls that ditched his ex for him.
Yep.
Like, what an ego trip.
you got to either mark your territory, which is shitty because you shouldn't have to do that. But this has less to do with them and more to do with him not treating you right. And you've already been kind of okay with it. And you have a minor complex because you mentioned these girls went to a private school, like have money. So like you're kind of like, oh, am I not as good enough? It doesn't matter. Like rich people can be very stupid too. So either you keep some class and you say something, and they will play so dumb and they'll play the victims. I don't even think you want to go down that road. But I just think you say like, hey, dude, like this is not cool. Think of how you would feel if I had a group of hot dude friends who had like tons of money, or even hotter, no money. Ooh, and they vape and drive stick shift Acuras. Listen to me. I'm just saying, how would you feel if I had a group of guy friends that were always calling me sweetheart and like hot tits, and when you were around them, they were like all over me? Your boyfriend would flip his fucking shit.
I think this might be a perfect time for the Iliza school of like the question method and just being like, do you think that the way that they're treating me is friendly? Like, do you think that this is how they treat other people? Do you think that they're treating us the same? Like just making him look at the fact that, because otherwise he can make all these excuses like, oh, they were weird. Oh, this happened. It's like, do you think this is acceptable? Would you like to be treated this way? You know,
and I will
that
tell
kind of
you,
thing.
I will fully admit this, and I will get canceled for this. As a woman, there are times that we go to a crazy place. There are times where like your boyfriend says one thing to a girl and you're like, why don't you just marry her and I will kill myself? I get there is like a crazy lane that like all girls go down, and sometimes you're very alone in this lane and you're like, well, I guess that's the end of that relationship and he's just going to marry her. He's like, I literally ordered a Frosty from her. But this is consistent enough. And it really kind of, I feel like, are you still attracted to your boyfriend? Like that's such immature behavior. It just comes down to maturity. And you don't have to say to them, it's like, hey, if you don't respect me, I will sure as shit find a guy who will.
Well, and then it's like the daddy thing is like beyond the pale. Like that just is a totally separate, like that alone is enough to be like, this is not acceptable.
Have I told you where beyond the pale comes from?
No.
Beyond the pale was Catherine the Great's like kingdom, quote unquote, like where everybody lived, and Jews were forced to live beyond the pale in like Eastern Europe. That's why there's so many Jews in Eastern Europe. Like she had all of Russia. Beyond the pale is like where all my family comes from. I found this out recently. Anyway, so yeah, it's very anti-Semitic of him. The pale was the neighborhood. It was like the area in the country, not the neighborhood. It was fucking massive. Anyway.
The paling fence. To be beyond the pale is to be outside the area except his home. Catherine the Great created the Pale of Settlement in Russia.
Thank you. You know, I was told it was that. It's where Jews couldn't live, was beyond the Pale of Settlement. But if you Google beyond the pale, it has to do with Ireland. So maybe it's both. Point is, Catherine the Great was a huge anti-Semite, which has nothing to do with your question. But as I Google her, not as hot as I thought she was. Okay.
Olden times people were not good looking.
I feel like George Washington was. And I feel like Thomas Jefferson was. I just do. I feel like he was like really strong when he was probably like younger. But of course, there's like no pictures of that. And I feel like James Madison was like okay looking. Anyway, moral of the story, your boyfriend is super immature. Definitely either had a thing with one of those girls or has an ongoing flirty thing. Needs to feel validated by them, but he's not respecting you. Also, Catherine the Great was a huge anti-Semite.
Well, we have an important Jewish follow-up from the person with the secret family. Who, remember, this person's grandfather, it turned out, was a Jewish man and not the man that her mother thought was the father.
Okay, can I say my issue with the way that you produce is that your follow-ups are always from a recent episode. It's never like 5 episodes ago where people have like time to implement the advice. Because you're lazy.
This is when... This is relevant because the problem is we say these things, then people want to come in right away and defend themselves against what we said.
No, this is not a court. We're here for evidence, not you defending yourself, but go on.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering my question about my super secret family. Just some more context because we asked these questions. You asked about these things. Okay. The reason me and my mom fight so often is because we're really different and have completely opposite ideals. She wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom and is really close-minded. I've never felt like we're on the same page. From what my mom told me from her half-sister, the 3 other half-siblings who are in their 20s don't talk to their dad anymore, my biological grandpa. Now, remember, we were like, you probably shouldn't get involved in this. You know, like we didn't know what his deal is. Right. He ditched out on the family. Sounds like the family that he decided to go live with also were like, we don't want to talk to you, man.
He could be
apparently he's an
asshole.
Apparently he's an asshole, and they think he has narcissistic personality disorder.
Think an international lawyer who's still practicing at like 85 has a narcissistic personality disorder? Yeah. Like a trial lawyer? Yeah.
So our question asker says, me reaching out to them, this family, would not include me being in contact with my grandpa. All my grandparents are alive and well. My grandparents are also young since my mom's mom had her when she was 16 and my biological grandpa was 18. My adopted grandpa is only a year older than my grandma. It's not like anyone is going to die soon and everyone has good health for their age as it is. Okay. Hearing my question read out to me by you two, I realized that my reason for wanting to connect to these other family members would be kind of selfish. I want some sort of family reunion and warmth I don't get from my family now. By trying to connect with my recently discovered family, I might not get what I'm looking for and I'll be brokenhearted. I literally never thought that. I had a fantasy in my mind that they would take me in with open arms and I wanted it so badly, I blinded myself to any other option. Thanks again. This has been so helpful for me and really put things into perspective. I love you and your podcast, and I have notifications on so I don't miss an episode. Next time you're performing in New York City, you can guarantee I'll be there. Iliza was right about me being from the Northeast. I'm from Long Island.
Yeah, of course you are. Also, it's like we're only like Jews and Italians exist. It's like, you got to be one or the other. I like her. She's like, I keep my notifications on to remind me when it's Wednesday. You know what? This show's all about giving you the hot take, but really just giving you enough information from our side so you can make your own decision. So I'm glad that you did. And I'm glad that you got to hear it out loud.
I think it taps into an important reason to have your question like discussed is just a viewpoint that you asking questions that you don't want to ask yourself. Like you don't want to question a situation, but we have no emotional ties. So we're like, what's up with that person?
Yeah, we'll give it to you hot and straight. Hot and straight. Take it! No!
Hello, Iliza, Emily, and Hot Scotty. This might be a bit long, and I always said I wouldn't send my sob stories in for you, Iliza, to become my personal therapist since you're not one, but it's your brutal honesty and strong opinions and knowledge I need at this point. I'll go to a therapist after I figure shit out. Probably go before, but I, 29 female, have been with my boyfriend, 28, for just over 2 years. We met during the pandemic at work. We work for the same company, but in different departments, on different teams, and in completely different locations. If it wasn't for the pandemic, we never would have met. We started dating December of 2020, and at the end of 2021, we got an apartment together, and then shortly after that, we got a dog together. After a couple of months, things started to feel like I was living with a roommate that I shared a bed with and not a significant other. January of 2022, I got injured on the job and have had to undergo wrist surgery. I had to go into wrist surgery May of last year and shoulder surgery January of this year. While I was off work, he was such a big help to me, would go to the store whenever I needed it, but things still didn't feel right. He admitted to me February 13th that he had been flirting with his friend's mother on Snapchat for the last 6 months. Quote, nothing bad, just calling her cute and beautiful and pretty. Things he has not said to me in roughly a year unless I ask. I haven't gotten a compliment from him for any reason unless I pry. I've lost all trust in him since I feel that since he went and did it once, went and decided to just be dumb and careless, and he might do it again. I've confronted him about the fact that he never calls me cute or beautiful or anything anymore, that I don't know if he's still attracted to me, and he says he's sorry, but nothing ever changes. What do I do? Can I ever trust him?
What do you mean he's sorry,
Okay,
but
so this
nothing
was-
ever changes?
Well, I guess he keeps
sorry.
Snapchatting someone's mom.
No, I thought he said, I'm sorry, but nothing ever changes. He said sorry, and then
No.
also nothing ever changed. Got it.
Okay, so that question was submitted 6 days ago, 7 hours ago. So 6 days after that, update. I broke up with him.
Oh, great.
But now we have to figure out,
No, doesn't matter.
do we both give up the apartment? I love this apartment. I'd so much rather keep it for myself
Great.
and he move out. Plus, we have to figure out what happens with the dog that we adopted together. He never wanted the dog, but ended up loving the dog more than me, literally. I fought my ass off to get that dog, though. She's my everything. What would you do?
I will literally tell you what's going to happen. First of all, I'm so glad you saved me the breath. I'm glad you broke up. This is such a dead-end relationship. Just ask him. Be like, I'd like to keep you feel strongly about the apartment. It doesn't seem like he does. What will happen is you will do joint custody of the dog, and then one of you will kind of lose interest. So don't worry about it. It will crystallize. If you want these things, make it clear. Be like, I'd like to buy you out, or I'd like to just show him the plan. Be like, I think you should move out because you were the one that kind of like tanked this. Like, if anything, it's like reparations for him kind of emotionally cheating. And the dog, be like, great, we'll start with me. I'll have the dog for 2 weeks and you can come get her. And I guarantee he won't. But even if he does,
But he likes the dog more than her.
then you can just share the dog until one of you stops caring or the dog dies. Kick it. The dog won't be around for that long because dogs don't live that long. So you only got about 10 more years of shared custody. Depending on how big the dog is.
I really wanted
If it's a Great Dane, you only have about 2 weeks.
I really wanted to get into this person Snapchatting someone's mom, but she solved it.
That's not elder shame. Maybe she was smoking hot.
A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow, and the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get up to 50% off selected items during our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy.
Hello, AIA crew. Love you all. Let's get into it. I'm a 34-year-old female and getting married this year and contemplating an MBA. Just so you know, I am your typical listener. I have been with my significant other for 11 years, so at this point, we are just having a fun destination party. I have a question about body confidence and how to strike a balance in life. I bought the correct dress size for the body I have now, but I can't help to think how much better I'd look with 10 to 15 pounds less. We are having a destination wedding in Costa Rica, so I'll be in a bathing suit around friends and family for activities around the wedding. I've always had a sort of meh outlook on my body. I'm short with a decent amount of muscle from growing up playing all kinds of sports. I've been trying to approach working out in a more longevity-focused mindset. Think yoga and weightlifting with some cardio in the form of running. On the weekends, I'll stay active by skiing in the winter and trail running in the summer. I know diet is like 90% a factor in gaining and losing weight. I try to eat healthy, but refuse to deny myself any type of food. If there is queso, I am going to eat it and probably get a marg. But then I'll make a salad or soup the next day and be mindful for dinner. Cooking is how I show my friends and family I care. Had a baby? Here's a homemade lasagna. Congrats. Friends over for dinner? Yes, we do need to make an elk roast, twice baked potatoes, and a salad that I grew myself.
I mean, obviously, what else do your girlfriends eat? My friends come over, it's like, it's moose night. This sounds very Canadian, but okay.
And you can't tell I am from Colorado and grow a lot of vegetables in the summer. If we are eating meat, it's usually elk that my fiance hunted.
Okay.
Hey, sustainable. Good. I guess what I am asking is, how do you maintain the balance between looking good and feeling good and enjoying your life? I've never felt so focused on my body, but with an upcoming event where a lot of eyes will be on me and my partner, I can't help but obsess.
Okay, look. When is the wedding? You don't know.
It is, it doesn't say, but she already has the dress. So it's like she has the dress. She works out. She has a lot of activities she enjoys. She sounds like she balances her food pretty well, but she still thinks she could lose weight.
Okay, well then I don't know because I don't know when your wedding is. Like you cannot lose 10 to 15 pounds like in a month. So I don't know when your wedding is. We also all know that you can do wedding dress alterations up till X amount of days out. Like just because you buy something doesn't mean it has to stay that size. However, it's normal to like want to look great for your wedding, but just remember, you're going to look great no matter what. You already tricked someone into marrying you. And everybody is there to celebrate you as you are. And the person who's marrying you is marrying you as you are. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be better, but you're putting a lot of pressure, probably with not that much time left, on yourself to look like a version of yourself that you've never been. And probably, I don't want to say never will be, but sometimes like our body types are just our body types. I don't know what you look like or anything like that. I just think you need to know that I don't know if it's a guy or girl you're marrying, they're going to think you're stunning regardless. And I know it kind of doesn't matter. It's like, well, I think you're beautiful. You're like, who fucking cares? Everybody is going to be, it's going to be incredible no matter what. And you don't want to look back on the wedding like, oh my God, I was so stressed. I hated the way that I looked. So I think it's about like having a very frank conversation with yourself. Like, are you going to do anything to kick this into high gear? No, then don't think about it. Or you find an exercise that really does it. Like I happen to find Pilates. I'm not telling you to do Pilates. For some reason, it works for me. And I've never been in better shape, but I really committed to it. And I will tell you right now, I don't change anything that I eat. I just do this. So there's the version where you are saying all these things, but you aren't really that healthy, because I think we all think we are. But if you wrote down everything you ate, it'd be like, wow, I have margaritas 3 nights out of the week and a cheeseburger and a salad, but that, or there's the version where you are living a balanced life and you're putting yourself through hell for nothing. But you have the dress. This is who you are. I think it's either shit or get off the pot. I think it's either let's go. Like what you don't want to do, which is what every girl does, is continue to beat yourself up, but you're not making any changes. So either make the changes and be about it, or give yourself a break. Either way, you win.
Yeah, she thinks 10 to 15 pounds. She says, I can't help but think that would, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe you'd lose 10 to 15 pounds and you would feel the exact same about your body that you do now.
Nope. You would love it. But that's a lot. 10 to 15 pounds is a lot of weight, and you might not be able to shed it. Like, especially if you're like a short person, it might be very, very hard. Have you ever lost weight like that before? Is like genetically, is that in the cards? You don't want to kill yourself to do it. So, but this comes down to self-acceptance. I mean, we all have days where you hate your bodies. But at the end of the day, like, what are you going to do about it? And if the answer is I'm still going to have margaritas, then that's what you're going to do. Because it seems like you're maintaining a nice balance now and you want to be a different version of yourself. But where'd you get that idea? Were you ever obviously you were lighter at some point because you are a human that's grown up from being a baby. But were you ever around this age 10 to 15 pounds lighter, or is this just something you saw in magazines? I'm saying, like, don't set an unrealistic expectation. And don't forget to enjoy this time. but maybe just don't eat right before bed.
Hi, Liza and Emily, and the rest of the less or never heard but still loved Pod Squad. Love you both so much. Wednesday mornings are my favorites because it's new episode time. Eliza, I just got home from your show at Fantasy Springs. I was thrilled to have you out so close where I live. I love the show, loved you, loved Hunter. Wish I hadn't had to duck out to pee during your set. Question. What goes through your head when you're doing your set and the crowd is, let's say, weird? I saw you in San Diego in May, and that crowd seemed pretty fantastic. This crowd tonight was not full of nurses and grad school students. Or maybe they were, but like 50 years ago. I don't know what to say. The Coachella Valley is a little weird demographically. You seem to totally roll with it, but are there wheels turning in your head while you're on stage trying to figure out how you'd approach that type of crowd differently next time, or just crossing those types of stops off the map for a good while? LOL. Looking forward to seeing you perform again, however close it is to this area. Thanks, Sabrina.
Happy to answer that, Sabrina. Look, I think the mark of a good comic is that you can play all different places. There are a lot of comics who are well known, but we all have places where we do better, demographics where we do better. There are some people that cannot bring their act to the South, cannot bring their act to New York City, cannot bring their act abroad. And you are coming, look, at a casino, it's kind of a different animal. Like all bets are off because a lot of those are comps. A lot of those are tribal comps. The whole casino point, only at a casino do you have to give away like X amount of tickets. Like the room might hold 3,300, but you only have to sell like 2,800 because the casino keeps some of the tickets to give to their high rollers and whoever else. So you're not really doing a casino play because you're like, this is my market. It's a money play and it's a good way to entertain people in a place you don't normally go to. So I go in knowing that. I don't think I'm walking into like a show in Portland. And because I've played enough markets, I know how to walk that line. I appreciate that is a very conservative audience speckled with a lot of blue people. And so what you get is this, you kind of don't know. You can't make the mistake of thinking like, we all think the same, right? It's really painful when a comic has their set and they don't know how to pivot, or when they go in like with their agenda. You have to be mindful of where you are, and you should always cater to, never pander. So I might lean a little bit harder into something, or I might lean a little bit harder into something more neutral, or say what I mean, say something social, but also make sure to say something for the other side. So initially, like with Hunter, they were a little cold, but I'm there to say, look, I'm going to hold on to you and I'm not going to let go until my hour is up. And even though the crowd was weird, the feedback, was that they had a great time, but it's really not my concern. I think people are uncomfortable. I think people get nervous. I think people sometimes can't catch up with what I'm saying. So it never throws me, only because that crowd was absolutely fine and like so far from the worst crowd I've ever had. You do this long enough, you kind of you're like, look, I'm here. I came with the best of intentions and I'm going to do the best show I can. But I believe in a professional show. I believe in completing it. I believe in you got to find what each audience likes. Some audiences, like, they love a dick joke. Some are kind of prude. Some, you have to find those little pockets and then explore it further. So never forget, stand-up comedy is a living, breathing art form. And never forget, just because I think gay people are great and want some gun control doesn't mean my audience thinks that. And it doesn't mean that I need to hit you over the head with it at a comedy show. I think that there's a way to make sure that people just feel like they're all in on the joke.
So at a venue like that, usually when you do a show, it's 100%. It's people who bought tickets because they know you and they love you. At a venue like that, you wind up with people that are just going to see comedy and not necessarily you, right?
I think it's mostly me, but then I think sometimes it's like, oh, it's a night out, or we don't know. Oh, we're given free tickets by the casino. In Las Vegas, It's a little different. That's more of a destination. But casinos, it's like a different arrangement. And I count myself lucky because not every comic gets asked to do these. Like, these are big money makers. You attract a lot of people. But at the end of the day, I think everybody had a good time. Sometimes people are just weird. Yeah. Sometimes it's also, never forget how tired people are on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure also this person who they had seen you in kind of a show that was there was a different vibe. Otherwise, they might not have even thought that this vibe was strange. Yeah, if they hadn't seen you elsewhere.
They also thought it was strange because I full on said, "You guys are weird" to my audience. I think if you ask each person individually, they'd be like, "We had a good time."
Right.
Yeah.
We had a good time until she called us weird.
She called me weird, and I don't identify as weird.
Then I cried. Hi, Iliza and Emily. I love listening to your podcast and always agree with the advice you give. It's like what I would say, but articulated better.
Yeah.
This time, though, I am completely stuck and honestly don't know what you will make of it, but I need your take. I recently fell out with one of my closest family members. For context, she's the kind of a perfectionist who'd rather chew her arm off than admit imperfection or mistake. It's taken years, but I finally see that she's also a self-serving, manipulative gaslighter who hides all of that very proficiently from the world, except her husband and me, who seems to be the only people who see her true colors. After a recent confrontation where she hurt me, but made it into my issue and my attack on her, not acknowledging or admitting any of her part, I can't bring myself to be near her. I'm completely revolted by her personality. If she were a friend, I would just finish this friendship and move on. But how do I do that with a family member? Sure, she lives in a different country, and we might only ever cross paths back in our hometown at Christmas, but how? She's sweet yet superficial with our family who adore her and will never see the nasty side of her. And as secure as I am in my assessment of her, if I take my cold shoulder too far, I will be the problematic one who stirs up shit in the family instead of just getting along. What would you recommend? Another issue is that she has a small baby girl who's just the most adorable and whose life I'd love to be in somehow. What would you do? Huge hugs to you both and also to Tianfu, whose stories I can never get enough of. Mona, 35, female.
Mona, I wonder if, first of all, how involved were you in her life before if she lives in another country? Or was this like Facebook posts, messages, texts? She probably knows what she did. She might even be like a little embarrassed. And I know people would be like, let her off the hook, just move on. I think there's a way for you to remain dignified and stand your ground. Do not say anything about this to anyone because it will very quickly, if she is a master manipulator and a total operator, become like, oh, well, yeah, Mona's got a real thing against her. And if you try to rally people against her, the only way you can do something is if another relative is like, hey, have you noticed that like Susan is kind of a bitch? And then you just give them a look and then they'll be like, what do you know? You don't say anything. You be impeccable. You keep it clean. That way, if someone says anything, you should be like, oh, yeah, just not much. Give it as little air as possible. It's not a friend, so you can't say like, oh, I don't really know her. But you could just, if someone says something, you'll be like, oh, that's great. How's her little girl? Always make it about the little girl. You can send the little girl gifts. Like you can still love that little girl. And chances are she's not going to like cast you out because she's a crazy person. So she probably either is totally aware and is embarrassed or is unaware, which is great. And when you see her at a holiday, you can just say hi. How's little Susie? She's good. Talk to the little kid. Be really sweet to her. But you don't fuck up. That's how you do it. You give her no attention. And when you do see her, great. How are you? How was the flight? Good. Great. And move on. She will never call you out on it. You be polite, not warm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. And you say nothing to anyone, and eventually her true colors will come out. But what you don't want to be is the only one leading this charge against her. And then it's like, wow, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with Mona?
Yeah. Even though it is so annoying to like watch people not see someone else, like to think that, but yeah, it's not worth it. What do you get out of exposing her? You don't get anything.
It's tough for you because you want to send a little kid cards. You hope she gives them to her, whatever. I don't know how you're going to be involved in her life if she lives in another country. But now that you've seen too much. And now that you've seen who she is, now that she's shown you frog and scorpion, one on each other's backs, one's drowning. Now that she's shown you, you can never unsee it. So you have to use that to your advantage. Maybe you don't let her in as close. Maybe you don't reveal personal things. You just keep her at arm's length.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do. Don't slip. Don't fuck up. Don't like commiserate with someone else and then they tell her and now you're the B.
Yeah.
Or if you do, make sure that relative's really old and they're going to die before they can tell anyone. Okay.
Long time, first time. Love everything you do. I've seen all your specials. Okay. So my partner of 7 years and I are great for each other. We had a baby during the pandemic years and only grew closer. However, we oftentimes open up our relationship to keep things spicy and hot. Rarely does this manifest into actual sex, but more or less just flirting and dates that we enjoy bringing back to each other to talk about.
Oh.
That almost always
do you tell
leads
the
to-
person you're going out with, like, I'm not going to fuck you, but I will be flirting and I will be getting chicken tenders?
That almost always leads to intimacy between us. It's weird, I know, but this dynamic really works for us. He also sort of has a fetish in the realm of sharing me with other men, which is mostly a fantasy, like I said, but the door is open for this. So, cut to now. I'm across the country at my mom's house with our baby. How do I date here without tipping my mom and family off about our very unconventional and personal arrangement? I don't love talking about my sex life with my family, but I want to be honest about where I am and who I am with, especially since my mom will be watching my daughter. This is so strange to navigate. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shout out to Baby Sierra, Hot Scotty, and the whole gang.
Look, this is a unique question because you're like, we've got this buttoned up. This is what we're into. I think it's kind of fun that you're like, we just date around and we talk about it. I wonder, I feel bad for the person going on the date unless they're like totally clued in. I had a friend who was cheating on her husband who was abusive. So like, I didn't feel bad about it. And she would go on business trips and like, she like meet these dudes and she like, we had a great weekend together. And I'm like, how are you doing it? She was like, I go on Plenty of Fish. I'm not like saying do or don't. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not your question. Your question isn't how you meet people. I'm sorry. Well, there's some advice for you anyway about how my friend cheated on her husband. Your family doesn't have to know. This is I don't know if you have a job or what you do. This is a work friend. This is a college friend. This is a high school friend. That's it. You're not a kid. They're not going to be like, I need their parents' phone numbers.
I also, though, so she is with the mom and the baby. It's like, for how long do you have to go on dates while you're there? Are you there for vacation for a month or are you living there now?
I mean, let's say she does. Let's say she's super horny and like it's like a cigarette to her. Like this is her thing. I would just want you to be so careful because like a date, you'd be like, his name is John and he lives here and this is his address. I would give your husband the info. That way someone just knows. But you don't owe your parents this and your parents don't want to fucking know. And you don't need to explain to them like this is really what works for us. So it's a friend from high school. Your mom's not going to go like internet digging. That's it. You don't know. So you're asking, how do I lie about it? And the answer is it's a coworker. It's someone I met at a convention for work, high school, college. And if you have none of these touch tones, you can just say, I'm going to an AA meeting. I'm going to the movies. I need a break from the baby. Going to a spa. Whatever. But I'm sure you have some friends in your hometown. So that's how you lie.
You don't even have to be that specific. You just say like, I'm seeing a friend.
Seeing a friend. I'm going to a late night yoga class. I'm just seeing a friend. No one's going to ask. Although your mom would be like, who's the friend? You're going to have to be okay with lying. Unless you really want to get nitty gritty. But I don't think your parents are going to be like, oh, so you're just fucking for the week? You're just flirting around? And quite frankly, you don't owe anyone that explanation. You have a beautiful baby. You have a healthy relationship. Whatever. There are worse things.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like you're doing great.
Sounds like you're doing great.
Okay. Listening to you speculate about the legality of the Montana baby in the bar question is so frustrating. Just do a quick Google. I'm from Montana too. Babies are legally allowed in bars here. You just can't serve them alcohol. Absolutely no grounds for getting that poor woman and her baby kicked out.
Wait,
now,
why are you, first of all, just showing you, like, we're a cool podcast. Like, we read that. We weren't, like, shying away from it. We weren't pro that. I was saying if that's the law, it's the law. But if it's not the law, then is that illegal?
But this person is like, why didn't you Google the law? But here's the reason I didn't, because usually I would just Google something, is I'm like, I think that the rules are different if an establishment has a food license or not. Like, right, if they can serve food.
And also,
they
like,
didn't.
This podcast, it's a dangerous podcast because there's so many hot takes flying around. We have to practice fire safety. But the truth is, let's say it is legal, which we did allow for that in the question before you got really upset and only saw red. We did allow for that. Montana feels very like we reserve the right to kick out anyone. I don't know then if that's illegal, but it is. We said what's deplorable is the way that woman handled it. And I did also say, like, yeah, if you're out without your kids, like, you probably don't want to see a baby in a bar. The bigger issue is the way the woman handled it. And if it is legal, then I don't know what kind of rights the owner has. But the way the woman handled it was shitty. We all agree with that.
Yeah. A bar could have like a no shirts, no shoes, no service, like no babies rule. I don't know.
You know, or so we don't know, but I mean, you can have a baby in a bar and that's on you. I think it wrecks the vibe. This lady was just like this tired woman and she had the baby in there for a second. So the woman was wrong for doing it. And honestly, if those are the rules, that woman should have known and been like, you can't kick me out. That seems like a very from my cold dead hands kind of state. So don't get frustrated at us because we didn't do a Google search in detail about like food legality. We're on a show.
On a show.
We're on a show.
We're a really buttoned up show.
I'm not afraid of you. You can write in your frustrations. I got it. It's an open-minded op-ed type thing.
We have another update, a red hot spicy brain update.
Red hot update.
Thank you for answering my silly little question about getting my piano and guitar back. You remember this person?
Do you want to give
at her ex?
I'll do it. I'm better than you.
Oh,
in so many ways. No, I'm better. Basically, this girl was like, my ex-boyfriend's parents have my instruments. I want them back. And then we were like, great, get them. She's like, they've been at their house for a couple of years. I had some mental health issues, but I want them back. And we said, go through him, but make sure to like bake some cookies and like thank them. The parents don't like her. I'm like, great. I'm sure they'll be happy to get rid of your shit. You shouldn't have left it there for so long. Here's the update.
Thank you for answering my silly question. Some context, which I should have included, is that my ex, his dad, and his brother frequently used the piano and guitar. After your answer, I realized that it was shitty of me to leave my stuff in their house for so long, but I also thought it might seem like I was asking someone to return a gift or something. I contacted him, and here's the story. He took the guitar when he moved abroad, so I'll just let him hold on to it. His family are religious and had some ideas of me being possessed or something because I was mentally spicy and nearly died. They sold the piano so they wouldn't have to have something belonging to me in the house.
Well, that's a normal, totally rational fear that someone's possessed by the devil, so get rid of their piano. These people seem great.
He moved to get away from them after that. I'll just have to take the L and be glad that we're both thriving. Thanks again for your sage advice, which prompted a nice interaction with my ex and a weird story to take away.
I love that. And also, yeah, it was not cool for you to leave that stuff for that long. And I do think there's some sort of rule like about possession. Like if you leave something in someone's house more than a week, it becomes their devil piano.
But it'd be nice to say like to the boyfriend, like, hey, tell your ex, like if she doesn't get it this week, we're selling it. Like to just sell it without saying anything. Like I get it. They didn't legally have to, but like morally.
They had it for a very long time. And like, you don't know if she's coming back, but also like, I don't know. They probably put a curse on it. That's so weird. Like, she's obviously possessed because she might be bipolar. Like, what? Good thing he moved away too. Wait, can I just say something, Emily? When we're doing the show sometimes and you just stare at me, but I can see some of you moving, I get nervous that there's like someone behind me on my Zoom or like something. And I'm like, what? You're like, and I'm like, what is it? Am I being paranormal activity?
Killer. Killer. Okay, so top of the cob.
It's the top of the cob. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite, top of the cob.
How do you want to do your listener tops and bottoms? Do you want to start with them? Do you want to start with you?
Ooh, that's good. Okay, well, we'll start with me because we already talked about how horrible our country is being right now. So I'll do mine because that's what people really want to hear. No, let's do yours. Let's get your cat ailments out of the way. Go ahead. You go first. Get the worst part out of the way. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you want me to start with top or bottom?
They're probably the same.
No, but my bottom is cat related.
Fine. Get your bottom out of the way.
Okay. So look, it's hot here now. I'm on the second floor. This room's very hot, but it's hot. It's getting hot in Georgia. It's only going to get hotter. Rizzoli is scared of ceiling fans to the point that I turned one on and he then screamed and pitched himself down the stairs.
Sure.
And that has now happened twice. I turned it on again today. And then he came back upstairs after an hour finally. And he came back in and again screamed and skittered away. And it's so hot and I don't know what to do.
I mean, you love suffering in the name of your animal. You're like, I can't move. He needs to bury me alive. Get a little fan that sits on your desk or one of those like tiny air conditioner units, like a quiet Dyson fan.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put little baby fans in various rooms because I assume it's an instinctual, like he thinks it's a hawk. I don't know, but it's horrible.
They'll get over it. Or get one of those Dyson like quiet fans, for at least for there where the equipment is. You don't want all your Cameron Diaz DVDs to melt. You're like, they're already melted from me overplaying them. My bottom of the cob is I went to go mess with my ear and the new earring was gone, which is like this fresh piercing. And I was like touching it. I was like, where did my earring go? How did that even fall out? And I'm touching it. I'm like, why does it feel weird? It went inside the hole. Like it was in my middle ear, my middle earth. And the back was just sticking out and I had to pop it back through. And like the head of the earring is like kind of big. So that was gnarly. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I think I forced it through that ear hole. I mean,
so
it's
upsetting.
It pales in comparison, beyond the pale comparison to what's going on in the news. But that was, for a minute, I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, wait, it's in me.
Oh, no. Okay, so you want to hear a fan's bottom of the cob?
Yes.
From Abby. Bottom of the cob. When Iliza thinks we don't enjoy Emily's weekly cat updates and her cob offerings.
I knew somebody was going to say something. Obviously, my taste is what dictates this, but you are right, Abby. And just because I find something mind-numbingly boring doesn't mean other people won't love it. So I apologize.
And then because I'm the email reader and I've decided this person can also read their top of the cob, the upcoming news segment called Emily's Weekly Cat Updates. Well, it's the rest of their jokes. So
this is, you are not doing. All right, fine. Can we please read a top of the cob from the correct person produced this the way that the show was written?
Yes.
Okay, what's your top of the cob?
My top of the cob is I have not watched like a new show in a while because the thought of like starting something, it's just too much. There's too many seasons of everything.
100%.
There's too many things I haven't seen. It's very overwhelming. But a new show came out on Amazon that was only 33-minute episodes, only 8 episodes. So I watched it. I wound up watching all of it. Class of '07, where it's an Australian show where these people meet up for their 10-year reunion and then apocalypse happens and they're all stuck together. They're trying to survive, like just these 10 women. It's a cute premise. And I just haven't had that feeling in a while where I like start a show and I'm like, I need to watch the next one. I need to watch the next one. And it just like, it ended in a cliffhanger, but it was satisfying. Like, it was just it was a nice like 4 hours where I was like, oh, like just when you really are excited, like it's loading the next one. Yay.
I love that. I love that feeling. I would do that with Succession, except for it would take like 8 hours. But I do it with The Office every night. Delicious. I do two quick sprays of melatonin, and Noah and I tuck in. We watch one, and we start the second one, and then I just like half awake. I'm like, I have to go to bed, and he just turns it off.
You do a spray melatonin?
He has a spray, and I love it. It gives me awful dreams, and I always wake up with my neck hurting, but does the job. I go right to bed. Something's not right. I'm going to order a mouth guard. My head hurts. My top of the cob. This is so like new age and like borderline self-help annoying, but I'm just going to say this. The older I get, the more important a promise to myself is. And it's no secret that I really enjoy doing Pilates, and I have an instructor who comes over, and on the road, I always try to find a class. So it's become like a part of my habits. But sometimes I do classes by myself, and I've worked really hard last week. Like sometimes you just get too tired, but I promised myself this morning, I was like, I'm going to go to bed early and I'm going to get up, have my coffee. I'm going to do a workout before my meeting. I promised myself. And it was like very important that because I promised myself that I do it. And I did it. Most of it. I promised myself. I just think it matters. Like keeping that promise to yourself that you would do something, you wouldn't do something. These things matter. I promised myself. I'm doing it. It's hard to
top of the cob.
Work out when you have a peach monkey running around your house.
Does she try to climb on you when you're working out?
No, but she does enjoy looking at the machine, and she only wants to touch the dangerous part, which is the springs.
Of course.
So I'm like, if you touch it, I'm going to give you kisses, and I know you don't like that. Get ready.
Now for the fans top from Kat. I bought my husband and myself fancy Easter eggs, even though he definitely will not eat it and would definitely complain if he didn't get one. So I get to eat 2 fancy Easter eggs. We live in Japan, so we don't really do Easter, just in it for the chocolate. It's Kat.
Wait, what does that mean? Like a Cadbury cream-filled egg or like a big chocolate one with like a rabbit?
I assume like a chunky, like a nice big chunky one.
I guess I don't know much about that, but I know those, you know what are beautiful are those sugar ones that have like a seam made of icing in them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I married Noah. I don't think it was last year, but one of these years, Nancy gave me an Easter basket. And I'm Jewish, so like I'd never gotten one because like Christianity does a really good job of like marketing their stuff. And Jews are like, we have 4 questions and we don't eat till 10. And so we will let Sierra do an egg hunt because, you know, her grandma is not Jewish and the kids in the neighborhood do it. And
fun.
I think that's fun to get to participate in other people's things. She's not like
so she's going elsewhere.
She's not like drinking the blood of Christ. What? On our
are you hiding them in your yard or are you taking her to like a hunt with multiple children?
A hunt with multiple children.
Okay, you got to be careful because in an egg hunt, the other parents get brutal trying to get their kids the eggs so you got to be in there helping Sierra. It's not about the children. The parents are fighting for eggs. You got to be there.
Okay. First of all, my daughter has the strength of 10 men. Second of all, I know all these parents, plus their kids are older, so I think they would show deference to like let the little baby girl in.
Yeah.
But you know what? If someone butts her out of the way, I'll just be like, that kid has no manners. And she'll be like, what are manners? What's a kid? And I'll be like, here, you can't eat any of this chocolate anyway. Here's some dinner. It's so I can see her in a cute dress holding a little basket.
Oh, did you get her a little basket already?
No, I never will. But if her grandma wants to get her one, that's cool.
What's she going to carry her eggs in if grandma doesn't get her one?
She's going to get her one. They'll have them there. I'll just give her like a book people tote or something else. I'll give her like a Trans Lives Matter tote, or I have one. What do I have over here? I got one with.
Do you have
Blanche's
a Le Creuset she can carry?
Give her a whole Le Creuset pot. I could just walk behind her, and she can also. I mean, she can only carry so much. She can just hand it to me. She's not going to get to keep them. She doesn't need to know that because she's just a baby. She can't have any candy. But we did give her pork chop at lunch the other day. So the line is very blurred.
Are you going to eat the candy?
Maybe I make her do all the work and I eat that sweet, sweet Christian candy.
That's what the Christians are scared of.
Jews eating their candy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be in there enjoying your holiday, eating all the lamb cake, doing it up. I don't know. You guys, send us in your top and bottom of the cob. Please always send us updates and questions. Maybe you could code it if you have like a comment on something. I don't want to get too far in the weeds with comments. Otherwise, it just becomes like convos about convos. But the pod is here for you and we are here for you. I'm going to make a little video about the podcast. And the next few dates, I'm announcing some great tour dates coming up. But the next few dates, I'm sorry to say for the rest of you, are local. I got the Brea Improv coming up, and I got the Oxnard Improv coming up because I'm sharpening that hour, which is about 85% brand new. So I would say 90% brand new. In fact, I would say 95% brand new. I'm not great with numbers. And you can always come out and see me running these sets in these streets in LA. Take us at Iliza.com/tour. What? I'm wrapping up.
Will you ever, if you hit 10 specials, will you stop or will you keep making specials as long as you keep having thoughts?
Can I be honest? After this last special, I was like, what could I ever say ever again? And I didn't think I'd be able to. But
yeah, your body of work is prolific. You've put out a lot.
I appreciate that. I think it's a lot of Netflix specials. I think other comics who have been doing this for a long time probably. I don't know, actually. I don't know. And I'll keep doing it till the wheels fall off. And by the wheels fall off, I mean my mental faculties. So far, I got something to say, and they're not letting me say it in a movie, so we'll keep saying it in stand-up. Oh, and don't forget, folks, please remember, no matter what you do, it's like we always say in the lemonade business.
Keep it sweet.
Keep it sweet, pervert.
High Five Casino lets you play your favorite slot and live table games like blackjack with the chance to redeem for real cash prizes. High Five Casino has a giant selection of over 1,200 games, including hundreds of exclusive games only found on High Five Casino. It's always free to play, and free coins are given out every 4 hours. Ready to have your own high five moment? Visit highfivecasino.com. That's high, 5, casino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.